Hey everybody, what's up and what's good, and welcome to another edition of War Rapport Wednesday. I'm Jack Patterson, alongside the man with the plan from the War Rapport, Mike Gittens. Mike G, what's good, my brother?
Not much. It is another week for Auburn football. Hugh Freeze survives another week, Jack. They got Kentucky coming up this week, so another must-win for the Tigers.
Absolutely. For us to be doing this off a win, that's something that we haven't done in about a month or so. So big-time win for Hugh Freeze and the Tigers, and that kind of takes us to the first question. Was this more about Auburn taking a step forward, or is this just Auburn kind of treading water?
Well, I think that the defense just kind of held serve, right? They've done what they've done all year. They've shut down. They haven't allowed more than 24 points to any opponent all season, Jack. And that was no difference versus what really was a really good Arkansas offense. They led the SEC in yards per game and points per game, and they're one of the best offenses in the country that they all but shut down. Now, you got to remember, only 17 of those were on the defense, right? The offense gave up a pick six that I put squarely on them. But ultimately, what it boils down to is that this offense has to come along. They have not done, I would say they've not lived up to expectations so far relative to the talent that they brought in. They've done a great job bringing in playmakers, but those guys have to now start making plays. And we saw a change at quarterback finally. The pick six by Jackson Arnold was finally enough for Hugh Freeze to say, enough. I'm going to pull him. I'm going to try Ashton. In today's, in this week's press conference, he was unwilling to commit to Ashton as the starter against Kentucky, but I think that may be a little bit of gamesmanship. I don't think there's any way he realistically rolls Jackson out there. We've seen enough of Jackson Arnold. Now it's time. Your job is on the line. It's time to try something different.
Well, that kind of leads to my next question, is that have we seen the last of Jackson Arnold in the blue and orange for Auburn?
I asked my guy, Charlie Five from the barn, this question. He said, yes, he thinks that we've seen the last of Jackson Arnold. I'm not so sure, because when I think that Hugh Freeze could not be more stubborn, he gets more stubborn. And I'm just not sure. So there is a redshirt plan for Deuce. There's a redshirt plan for Ashton as well, too. And you haven't played these guys a lot. So it would be a shame now that you're desperate that you burn their red shirts with so few games left. Auburn's got to find a combination of playing these guys at the end that preserves Deuce's red shirt, preserves Ashton's red shirt, and maybe uses Jackson Arnold to help accomplish all that. I think they can do that without playing Jackson Arnold, but a lot of it will depend on how well Ashton plays when he gets in the game. Look, man, if he can command this offense at a well enough level, lead a couple of scoring drives, I don't think they go back to Jackson Arnold.
And we talked a lot about how big of a role the defense played in the Arkansas win. But another person that played a huge role is Alex McPherson. And, coming off of that Missouri game, which was one that he probably wants to never remember, he goes 6 for 6 for field goals and was a big reason why Auburn came away with the win. How big was that for Alex to be able to have that kind of an effort?
It was huge for him. Look, this is a kid who's gone through a lot, obviously. The Auburn family knows. I'm not going to preach to them about what Alex has been through. I think everyone is happy for him. Everybody except for maybe the dude, Dave Portnoy, over at Barstool.
That's a whole other story.
I think he's happy for Alex, but the rest of us are extremely happy for Alex. And look, man, the way this offense is going, you need every point you can get. And he wore the responsibility of that loss versus Missouri, because if he makes it one out of those 3 field goals, Auburn probably wins that game and in regulation. So, look, you're just not good enough to give away points, and they're going to need Alex McPherson here down the stretch.
I can definitely agree with that. And, we always have a saying in this sports office, kickers are people too, and Alex is one of the best. Now, everybody says, Hugh Freeze, he's living on borrowed time. How much time did this win by Hugh Freeze from, the hammer coming down on him?
1 week. They bought him this weekend, Jack, because you can't lose to Kentucky.
Absolutely.
So it got you to the next week, and I firmly believe that even though they won't want to do it, if he loses this weekend, they're not going to have much of a choice. So it bought him 1 week. Now you beat Vanderbilt, you get to the Iron Bowl, right? And I mean, if Auburn could put together a little bit of a streak here from Kentucky to Mercer, suddenly your 7-win team headed into the Iron Bowl with a chance to upset Alabama and finish with 8 wins, which is where we always thought the floor for this team should have been this season. I don't think anyone saw it, them getting there with 4 straight losses in the middle of the season.
Agreed.
8-4 is still 8-4, man. You can still sell that you're moving the program forward at 8-4. So, if they were to get to 8-4 at this point, you would own 2 top 10 wins, 2 ranked top 10 wins, which is nothing to scoff at. And, Hugh Freeze has been saying we're close. Well, at some point you got to start to win the close ones. And that's going to start, I think, against Vanderbilt in a week or two. But you got to get Kentucky first, because we can't have that conversation before you beat Kentucky.
Agreed. And, we've talked about, you got to show progress.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing that this team has not offense, I should say. The defense has been phenomenal, but the offense has not been able to show any progress. And I think that in order for this to continue, you got to be able to show progress against Kentucky. And then, of course, when you get Vanderbilt coming up in a couple of weeks, be able to, go to Nashville and maybe pull off an upset.
Yeah. Look, suddenly Vanderbilt is a formidable foe.
I mean, it's still hard for me to believe that we're talking about Vanderbilt, the Commodores, a team that we used to joke about in this studio as a top 10 team.
Yeah.
Like that is wild to me.
Well, the story there is about Diego Pavia, right?
Which started at Auburn.
Yeah. Look, man, he is one of the best athletes in college football this year, and he's a winner. And if you're Auburn, you could use a little bit of that energy right now. So they can't take Vanderbilt lightly. They can't take anybody lightly coming in, because when your floor is maybe 1 touchdown a game, you can lose almost any game, no matter how well your defense plays. So Auburn's just got to go out and they've got to find points. And I think the other hidden story here, Jack, is that a lot has been made about retaining this roster. Well, if you don't get these guys the ball, if you don't show something offensively down the stretch here, I think regardless of whether you keep Hugh Freeze or not, Auburn's going to have a hard time keeping some of these guys on the roster.
Exactly. You talking about the talent. We've talked ad nauseum about the talent that we've brought in. Well, if you don't use them, they're going to go somewhere else to
absolutely
the brighter pastures, so to say. And, you talked a little bit about how important this next game is against Kentucky. How can Auburn ride this momentum into the second half of the season? We're halfway home. You're getting ready to turn the calendar to November, but you still have a lot of season to go. What is, in your mind, the biggest way Auburn can take this win over Arkansas and ride it into a positive second half?
Very simple. Run the ball. Run the ball. Jeremiah Cobb is one of the best backs in the SEC this year. He's averaging well over 5 yards a carry. Just run the ball. We saw what he was able to do last week. 28 carries, well over 100 yards. Come on, man. Just if you're Hugh, just
run it,
man. Run the ball. Run the ball. So I'm looking forward to seeing what this offense looks like here. Ashton has not gotten a lot of work with these 5-star receivers, so he's going to have to show us a little something here in a short amount of time. But that's the lot you draw in college football, right? You never know when your number is going to be called, and so. He wasn't here for the spring. He came in, during the summer, and he's got some catching up to do. But this is a guy who's played a lot of P4 football. People forget he played a lot of games before he got here. He started a lot of games, and hopefully what that translates to with the talent he has around him now is wins for Auburn down the stretch.
So we've talked a lot about the floor. In your eyes, what is the ceiling for this team where we stand right now?
It's 8-4. It's 8-4. Winning out sounds like a far stretch right now, but they can do it. I'm telling you, they have the talent to do it. And the way this defense is playing, I would not rule out any result for Auburn. But if you're Hugh Freeze, that's got to be the goal here. If you want firing off the table, I said this at SEC Media Days, at 7-5, everything is on the table. At 8-4, I think you can take firing off the table and you can get them to year 4.
All right. And Mike G, we'll round things out. Stepping away from football a little bit, real cool event over at the baseball diamond on Saturday night. The baseball team playing the Savannah Bananas. And we hear from Butch Thompson, he talked a lot about, this wasn't just about the team playing as it was the team having fun. You know about how talented this team is and the talent that has been accumulated on this squad. How important is it for them to be able to not just, get practice against some good talent now, but also, be able to have fun in the process.
Look, man, Butch Thompson knows how to motivate his team. So this is about motivating your guys to go out and play for you, right? I think we know a guy who works for the Savannah Bananas.
I don't know. Maybe the guy that used to occupy the chair I'm sitting in?
Yeah, I think we know a guy over there now. But ultimately, what it's boiled down to is he is one of the best coaches on campus, if not the best coach on campus right now with Bruce retiring. And we're looking forward to seeing what Auburn baseball could do. So this is just another creative way, I think, to get your guys some reps, but also give something back to fans as well, too.
Absolutely. It was definitely a sight to see the Bananas playing at Plainsman Park. That's going to do it for this edition of War Rapport Wednesday. Mike G, as always, thank you. It's been fun. Please tell the people how they can follow everything you do, because, my God, you are a busy man.
Follow us at The War Rapport on every social media platform, TW Report on TikTok. And follow me at Mike Gittens on Twitter, at Mike Gittens _ on Instagram.
Y'all follow the man because he does everything, not just with Auburn, but with UCF as well, man. Mike, as always, thank you very much. That's going to do it for this edition of War Rapport Wednesday. We will catch y'all next week.